So I get questioned a lot about the grid and how I structure my wigs. So in this video, I'm going to do just that. I'm not going to focus too much on the technique of crocheting itself, just on how I place the twists and the hairs in certain areas and why. Hi guys, Camera here with Elon Blue Talks, where I help you to create stunning wigs through easy to follow steps, explore simple protective hairstyle options, and share tips on growing healthy, beautiful hair naturally. If you haven't already, go ahead and press that subscribe button to catch more videos just like this. All links in this video is going to be in the description box below. There are three main points I want to make in this video. One is defining a center part. Two is aligning your crochet cap with your mannequin head to form that center part. And three is to create a grid. All of this is helpful for maintaining your wig cap as well as refreshing it and just having it look as natural as possible. When you first place your wig cap on a mannequin head, you'll probably notice that there's not a definite line that goes straight up and down. So this is going to be something that you need to adjust before you start. To begin, I resize the wig cap, which is something I will show in another video. Starting from the top of the crown where I've resized my wig cap, I go straight down following a straight line of diamond-shaped openings in order to create a straight pathway down the wig cap. Immediately, most of the time, I notice that that straight line is going off to the side and needs to be adjusted before I even start. By gently moving the wig cap over to my right, I'm able to redefine a straight line that goes straight down that follows the seam of the mannequin head. So I'm using the mannequin head as a guide for my straight line on the wig cap. So that looks much better. You do see that now there's a straight line that follows the seam of the canvas head. If you have a typical canvas head, just like the one I have, I'll have links at the bottom. Then there's an automatic seam that goes down the center, and also there's seams on the side as well to help guide you in dividing the mannequin head up. This seam helps you to define the back of the mannequin head as well as the front. So now you know where the center of the mannequin head is, and you can create your wig to follow that center. So I will use my mannequin head as a center definer. So I know where my center of my wig is going to be, where the back of my wig center is going to be, that whole shebang. So now that I know where the center of my back is, which is usually where I start, if you like to start in the front, then definitely define the center of the front to begin. But once I have started, I can really start to crochet anywhere I want. I typically start at either the top where I resized the crown at, or I start at the very bottom where the baby hair or the hairline is going to be. Either place is fine, but in this video, I am going to start kind of in the middle because I think that it's going to be better for you to see. So again, once you've defined where the center is, you can really start anywhere you'd like. So now that I have defined where the center part is, I'm now going to place pieces of yarn in places where the hair would go, so you can have a visual of how I crochet in the spacings that I create. A lot of you guys have asked, what do I mean by skipping every other hole and or every other diamond and skipping every other row? So this is what I'm going to show. This is my attempt of showing you how I do that. I'm going to start with just one row and then show you a diagram. I hope that this image is makes it obvious as to why I call it a diamond. Literally, once you put the cap onto a mannequin head, especially because of the way that it is sewn at the top, it forms a diamond shape with each opening. So I call it diamond. So what I'm doing is attaching yarn to one side of the diamond shape opening. And then I'm moving on to the next diamond shape opening. What you'll see is it looks like I'm skipping a side. So I attach the yarn on one side of the diamond shape opening and skipping the other side. So if you look at the diamond shape, there's 4 sizes. We're not using the top and bottom sizes at all. We're only using the right and left sides. So I'm using the right side and skipping the left side and repeating that process 4 times. I'm using yarn so that the focus is not so much on the crocheting technique. I want you all to primarily concentrate on creating the grid. Creating the grid is super important as far as just keeping the neatness of the wig while you're making it. It allows you to also twist the hair so that it's out of the way. I hope that makes sense. I'm sure it doesn't fully make sense the way I'm speaking it, so I'm going to continue to try to elaborate on that by showing you a diagram. I think a diagram might be much more visual and understandable. So let's jump right into that now. Okay, so this is a realistic view of a wig cap on a flat 2D image. One of the reasons why I call these sections diamonds is because instead of having like a more square look to it, it has a very diamond shape look to it. So I call them diamonds. This can be adjusted once it's on the head, but while it's being made on the mannequin, it's going to look like these diagonal diamond shapes. Each of the sections are painted yellow so that you can see each section clearly. Each of the sections have 4 dashes, 4 indications of hair pieces in each row, and then 4 rows in each section. If you count the rows that are available, there are actually 8 rows. And if you count the sections that hair can be placed on, there are 8 as well. But because I am skipping every other hole and every other row, the dashes that you see, it looks like there's only 4 going up and 4 going across. So that's why I call it 4x4, because that is what I'm really working with. So I have 4 dashes going across. We're going to count it: 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the next row, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have another row: 1, 2, 3, 4. And then another row: 1, 2, 3, 4. So like I said, there are 4 rows of these hair pieces, and then 4 holes of them, or sections that has the hair pieces on it, which makes a total of 16 pieces of hair, and then they are twisted. If you've noticed in my previous videos, once I have the 4 rows going up and 4 across, there I go ahead and cut them in half. I would cut them right here and then twist it. So again, just so you can see it a little bit more clearly, I have 4 rows, and then across 1, 2, 3, 4 sections across. I would divide these 2 sections here, 1, 2, and then from this and divide this area here, 1, 2, and then this empty space right here would be where I divide the sections completely and then twist this whole area up. So I really just wanted to give you guys a better visual of what I mean by creating a grid. Creating a grid definitely helps with the maintenance of the hair and restyling it and just keeping it nice and neat as much as possible. This is a curly, kinky kind of hair texture. So just kind of keeping it as neat as possible will increase the longevity and just make it look really nice. Say, for instance, I start right here by the hairline. As you can see, some of the yellow sections are cut off because it just doesn't make the cut, you know? So I have 4 sections here. There are only 2 sections here, and then even as you go down, I would have to attach the section maybe right here, but of course you can't see it. So if the grid continued down, there would probably be a section maybe like right here, like right here. So even along this band here, there are usually net. So that grid would actually continue on down here. So I would have attached hair right here. But in general, there would be hair attached to this area, period, because this is where the hairline would kind of start. So hair would be all the way through here, but because this grid stops right here, that the hair would probably be from here to here on this black line, and then you would take all of this and twist it. So the same with this, the hair would be on this area here. So I would take all of this and twist it, if that makes any sense. So the same with hair, it would be from the hair would be here, of course, and then some on this black area here. So I would take all of that and twist it. Again, the goal is to get to 4 up and 4 across, but as you hit these borders, you may not be able to make a full 4x4. So you just take what you have and just twist that, you know, and make that a section, if that makes any sense. So the same would go for the areas up here. Again, as you get to the crown of the cap, the same thing would happen that you see happening at the hairline. It would probably cut off at some point where you couldn't make a full 4. So if it's big enough to twist whatever you can get from that crown area, then twist that. But if it's super thin and super small and there's only like 2 or 3 pieces, then you can add that to the last section that you just did and just make it one big section or one larger section. You know, it's one of those things you have to wing it, especially at the crown and at the hairline. So just, you know, use your discretion and make it make sense, make it work. But ideally, especially in the midsection and the main area of the cap, you will be able to get those 4 and 4. So of course, try not to make any exceptions for this area, because if you do, if you accidentally take a section from another area or mix the sections up, it can mess up your whole grid. You know, your grid is actually depending on you following through as much as possible, especially in the center. So because what you're trying to do is create these parting areas. So because of the grid, you see a straight line coming straight down here. Because of the grid, you do see a line here that goes all the way across. Because of the grid, there's a line here. So if you mix it up and don't follow through on the grid, making sure that there's 4 going up and 4 going across, that line will be, you know, much more fuzzy and unorganized. So this is the point of this, is just to be more organized. What I find is I usually wear my wigs with a part in the center. So this section here would go to the left of me, and this section here would go to the right of me. So that I have like a natural part that goes here. So anytime I have to retwist or refresh the wig, I know that this natural part is here, and everything on this side is going with this side. Everything on this, you know, and everything on that side will go with that side. And then of course, you know, you have your part here. So even if I wanted to like have like a side part rather than a center part, this part area is already here. So I don't have to go through any fuss trying to create a part. That is a big help, and that's the main reason why I have these sections as well, so that the parts are already there. I don't have to go through any fuss and any major like detangling in order to create a nice part. And because the hair is crocheted and it's kinky, it can get matted and it can get frizzy and it can get tangled quite easily. So this grid is to avoid tangles as much as possible. Frizzes, matting, tangles, this is what this grid is for. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you can see what I've done here. I'm going to also post this on my website as soon as I can, maybe in the blog section, so that if you want to print this out or see a better view of it or whatever, it is going to be on the website. So I hope this is helpful. I'm going to just reiterate one more time that these black lines here, are what I'm indicating the hair strands as. So these are all hair strands that I'm attempting to show you in this 2D image of a wig cap. So for instance, the center of the cap is right here. You can start wherever you want once you define the center. So I've defined the center, and instead of starting here, I just started right there. So if this is my first hair attachment, I'm going to go down this way. So if this is my first one, I'm going to put a piece of hair right there. I'm going to skip this one here, and I'm going to go to the next one right here. Again, this area would be full of hair as well, so be mindful of that. But we are finished with this row here. So we're going to go to the next row. Of course, we are skipping a whole row. So I'm skipping this row here and going to the next one. I'm going to place, remember this is the center part or the center line that I'm starting with. So my very next hair would be right here. So I'm going to add a piece of hair right here. I'm going to skip this one, add it right here. I'm going to skip this one, add it right here. I'm going to skip this one, add it right here. So fortunately for this row, I was able to get all 4 pieces of hair onto it. Again, we are skipping again as we move up. We're skipping a whole row right here, and we're going to go to the next one. The row starts right here, so I'm going to add that piece here. I'm going to add the hair here, skip this one, add the hair here, skip this one, add the hair here, skip this one, add the hair here. So now if you look, all of this row here, the hairs are on the same row, on the same section. You get what I'm saying? So the same with this one, the hairs are on the same area, the same sections. So that is what you're trying to do. You're trying to create a straight line of hair that is on the same section. Of course, this is on the same section here, so this creates a straight line as well. So now, once I've added all these pieces of hair to this 4x4 area, I would twist it and then go straight up. We just did this row here, so of course, based off of the grid structure, we are skipping this whole area, which creates now the part. So now we're skipping this area here, which creates the part, and we're jumping into the next row. So on the next row, we're going to start right here, add a piece here, skip this one, add a piece here, skip this one, add a piece here, skip this one, add a piece here. And again, we're doing this all the way up, four rows up. So again, skipping here, completing the row here, skipping this one, completing the row here, skipping this one, completing the row here. So that would complete the 4x4 area, and then you would take that whole area there and twist it. I didn't indicate here because it's kind of hard to see, but you would continue that all the way up. Typically, each of my wigs have about 5 to 6 rows of hair. So this is only 2, so there would be about 3 more rows as you go up from here that you really can't see in this diagram. But yes, you've only done 2 rows here, so you'd have to go on a whole nother 2 or 3 rows up this way. So again, with the same area here, these 2 sections are finished. So if the whole row was complete, I would move to the next row. So let's say we're right over here with this row. So we already know that we put hair here and we put hair strands here. So we know that the next area of hair would have to go not right here because we have a hair piece right here. So we'd have to skip this area and it would go somewhere over here. Again, we would have hair all the way through this whole area here because we want to cover up that black band. So hair would be all in this area. So we won't worry about that too much. So we'll skip this row here because as you can see, we've skipped this whole area as well. So we're going to the next area, which we have a piece of hair right here. So we're going to skip this area and then go to this one. So we're attaching a strand of hair onto this piece of net. We're going to skip this one and we're going to go to this next piece of net. We're going to skip this corner here, and then because we would have hair all the way in this area, we'll just take this small little area and twist it, and that will complete that area there. And then you would just go up from there, skipping this whole area. That would create the part, and then jumping right into the next row. The first of the row would be right here because we have a piece of hair right here. So we know we skip this area and we jump right into this one, skipping here, jumping here, skipping here, jumping here, skipping this one, and again skipping a whole row, jump into the next row, placing a hair piece here, skipping this row here, skipping this area here, skipping this area, and then that would go all the way up until you got 16 in this area, 4 up, 4 across, and then twisting. And of course you would continue all the way up this cap. So again, I hope that this was helpful. This is the best I feel like I can show you. I know this was a little bit, I know the section or the creating a grid was a little bit difficult to explain to some of you all. So I did get a request from some to do a video where I'm showing how the grid is formed without necessarily putting the hair on there, just so you can understand the grid itself. So again, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.